It's gonna be money.
Cool, man.
We're happy to have you.
Dude, I'm stoked.
Oh, this is cool, man. Yeah, if you haven't seen the gym, is badass, you know?
Oh, this gym's ridiculous. Like, yeah, I haven't been here in 10 years, so I was at the old one.
The coolest part is the dorms, probably. The most. Like,
where are the dorms?
Like upstairs.
Oh, my God.
So, I mean,
it's actually called...
So, we're live right now, I think.
Right on.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're sitting here with legendary Mike Brown.
Hell yeah.
We'll call this episode 28, right?
Yeah,
Episode 28, Menace and the Man. With a legend, I would say. Now, would you call yourself like a... no, you don't think?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Menace said it, and then when I started thinking about it...
Coach at American Top.
Remember back that time, like, when you beat Uriah Faber, he was the guy.
Yeah.
Like, Menace pointed that out to me, and I was like, wow, I forgot about that. Like, yeah, nobody was beating him at that point.
Because, right, he was pretty much the king of the WEC at the time. Or all of WEC. You know, like, when I think of, like, WEC, like... Aldo doesn't really ring a bell too much. Like Cub Swanson, not really. But Uriah Faber was like the guy. And then you came in.
And Miguel. Uriah and
Miguel.
Torres.
Yeah, Miguel Torres.
Were the two champions. They were dominant for a long time. And they were also the weight classes that weren't in the UFC. So they were legitimately the number one guy in the world.
Right.
Oh, I love the WEC back then. Those are some exciting fights.
It was the little guys, man. It was like a showcase for all the little guys, and it showed how exciting they can be and how technical, and it's a lot of action. There's also a smaller cage.
Yeah.
And it made for crazy action, you know. It was a couple feet smaller, but it's crazy. Actually, the finish rate was higher than when they moved to the bigger cage. They realized the finish rate is lower. In the bigger cage. Same fighters, once they moved to the UFC in a bigger cage, finish rate went down.
So we talked to Matt Mitrione about it, and he always hated the small cage, or would not fight in a small cage. Like he didn't even want to do fight nights. You know what I mean? He always wanted to be on like a numbered show because he wanted the.
Are fight nights smaller octagons?
Yeah.
It depends on the venue.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the venue.
On the size of the venue, if they got room for the big one.
Okay.
But it.
As a fighter, did that ever matter to you?
No, I like the small one, right? Especially if you're a grappler, it's better because you
get ever.
So the Ultimate Fighter was in a smaller cage, and the finale was in a smaller cage. I remember it was at the Palms.
Yeah,
the finale.
Yeah, it was
small. And I remember being like, "This is."
We could almost touch gloves right now.
Yeah, and that like me and Diego Brenda had like this crazy scrap where there were like.
It was a good one.
So the thing is, when I first like really met you, I had been brought down to ATT. To help out Yves Edwards.
Yeah, I remember.
And I had just come off the show, but nobody knew the results.
Yeah, I didn't know you.
So I was walking around here with like my my lips sealed, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like moving around with you and Pitbull. I'm like doing all right, you know.
And it's funny. I remember it because I literally specifically remember. I knew you like, oh, this is some guy wrestled. He's helping Yves. You know, I thought, the guy wrestled a little bit, and I'm going, man, this guy's pretty damn good for a guy who just wrestled, you know. I knew something was up,
right.
It was one of those things, because all the info I got was, he wrestled a little bit, he's there helping Eve. This guy's pretty damn good for him.
Oh, so you didn't know he was a fighter at all? You thought he was a wrestler?
No, I didn't think so. Yeah. I mean, maybe somebody, but I didn't really hear it. Nobody gave his credentials or anything.
Because Yves would, he would grab specialists in one department of, whatever they did. So all the MMA. So he would just work with a boxer. He would just work with a wrestler. So when I came in as the wrestling, nobody, they always was a wrestler. You know?
Yeah. Yves was good like that. He would bring in guys, specifically wrestling.
Yeah.
Some of those, and that's the big one, man. That's the tough one that nobody wants to do. It's really difficult. It's not very glamorous. It's rough on the body.
Yeah.
But bringing in some tough wrestlers and working on it when you're not good at it is so difficult, but it's a good mindset to have.
Oh my gosh. And the thing is, a really good wrestler could not know how to fight, and you bring him hey, let's just move around. And you're this experienced vet fighter, and he might get you a little bit, you
100%.
know? And then you start playing, tricks on your mind.
We were talking about that the other day, how a D1 wrestler or even a really good wrestler could walk into a jiu-jitsu gym and they'll make blue belts, purple belts, brown belts, maybe look bad.
Yeah.
They may get submitted eventually, but you're going to work to get that submission. You know what I mean?
So you wrestled.
Yeah, a bit. I wrestled high school, maybe 20 college matches, something like that.
Why only 20 college matches?
I wrestled a little bit at Norwich University, a little D3 school in Vermont, but I had like a big neck injury.
Oh,
It was like after my freshman year, I had a neck surgery and it was bothering me, and I was kind of in and out, and then I missed like a couple years. Then by my senior year, I was like, it was holding up long enough, and I wrestled as a senior literally like for fun.
Right.
Maybe 10 matches as a senior, maybe something similar as a freshman, but I didn't really compete the whole time. But I was in there working out. I think it made me a lot better, although I didn't really compete very much,
Because the thing is, watching you fight, I actually thought you had way higher credentials in wrestling because of the way you fought. Like, you threw super hard, and like your shots were just like to the point,
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, with MMA, sometimes I forget about it, that like, it's not rocket science. Just fucking run at the guy and fucking tackle him. And the guys that aren't afraid to do that look like these like stud wrestlers.
Yeah.
And not all of them have the credentials. But now there's also this like, when you're in there fighting, you're like, this guy isn't as good a wrestler as me. Your confidence goes up.
Yeah.
When hitting these shots,
Yeah, MMA wrestling is different also.
Oh,
it's much different. Setups are different,
Because like GSP never
wrestled, yeah.
But
he was
But
number one.
did work out with wrestlers though. Like I know he worked out with like the Canadian wrestling team and stuff.
Wrestler.
Yeah, never competitive.
And he's number one in the history for most takedowns in UFC history, right? Number 2 is T-Bow Gleason from our gym, and he never wrestled really
He's
either.
a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
So that's 2 guys who didn't come up wrestling, led the UFC in takedowns.
Yeah. How is T-Bow doing?
Oh, he's a beast.
He's doing good.
He was my favorite. He was like one of my favorite guys when I came down to help you. He's like, oh, my friend.
Like super friendly, super happy, 100% of the time.
But when you look at him and you don't know and you watch him fight, you're like, dude, this guy.
He looks like he's like hard, like a hard nose, like tough.
Dude, most people think he beat Khabib. If you look at the.
That's
if you look at, it was a split decision, but if you look at how the media scored it, how you go to MMAdecisions.com.
Right.
It's a good website. Gives you a breakdown of how every major website scored it. Most of them scored it for
we're
T-Bow.
going to have to check some of your fights on MMAdecisions.com.
It'll give you every one of them. MMA Junkie, MMA Weekly, Sherdog, Bang Bang. And there'll be like 10 to 20 websites how all these experts scored it. That way you get a really good feeling of because it's subjective. So but you get a better feeling, a good pool of experts, so then you know who won.
I think that's like a conversation we could have too. Like, they need to come up with something for the judging criteria, right?
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's a very difficult job. Refereeing and judging you're in the moment and it's one and done. Yeah. So like you could almost like, oh, I fucked up. I shouldn't, like I didn't mean to write that, and then they come and collect the card. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the very beginning when they were just figuring this out. When they just, I'm a long time like crazy.
Because when did you start fighting?
I started fighting in 2001, but I was a fan, like a crazy, not a fan, I was a fanatic since the beginning.
So you were going with your friends, stealing the pay-per-views with the box?
UFC number 4 is the first one I was live on pay-per-view, but fanatical about it. But I remember, and I was training, like with guys that didn't know what they're doing real well, but we were
in a garage somewhere
trying to do the right thing. Go to a karate gym, and they had like a jiu-jitsu twice a week, but the guy went to a seminar once, really low level. It was low level. But, But I remember when they started adding, like, the first time they had like stand-ups, I was like, what are they doing? They're wrecking our sport. You can't be having... Let me stand them up.
Yeah. You know how hard I work for that takedown? Yeah.
The idea of lock 2 guys in a room and see who comes out, that's where it came from. Put 2 guys in a room, don't touch them. Let's see who wins this fight. This is not a boxing. This is like who would, in a true test to the death, who would win, the scenario.
Yeah.
And then when they started, like, standing them up, setting rounds, I'm like, oh, this is killing me. But...
Did you ever fight like in any of the prides or anything like that, like over in Asia?
No, I fought in
Deep, right?
I fought in Deep a couple times in another small show called GCM.
Well, even what I was going to say before about the judging, what do you think they could do for that? Fighters judging fights, add more judges?
Yeah, I mean, of course, the more educated judge, the better.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. Yeah. I think overall is better, like an overall, but it's all. You're
saying
that,
judge the fight like Pride used to.
Yeah. You say that, but it's also could be just as crazy and corrupt. You're going to have some really bad decisions then too.
Yeah.
They try to do that so you can kind of, especially for the bad judges, you can kind of like compartmentalize it, as opposed to just. So what do you think? Who won? then you're going to get some crazy decisions, you know?
I always play with the idea in my head that I think if they had more judges, you'd have a bigger sample size.
That's a great idea, too. Right. That's a great idea.
And I'm not saying
that's only got to be better, right?
Yeah.
It's like the MMAdecisions.com.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And maybe they do it from afar. Maybe they don't have to be sitting there. Well, maybe you can do it from TV.
I think that's a thing, too. Like, so you're going to put a judge here, and a judge here. If a girl walks by, if there's commotion in the crowd, there's so many distractions. And there's a post in the way. There's a cage in the way.
The camera is the best view.
Yeah, at home.
Right? Yeah.
Like, scoring a fight at home, like, they should almost put the judges in little booths.
Yeah, it's better view.
Yeah.
Realistically.
The television view, Where they put them, it's
that's like... That's actually a good idea.
Where they put the judges, it's like they're setting them up for fuck-ups almost. You know what I mean? It's hard to score. You've tried to score fights before, even do commentary. It's hard to
especially a tight round.
Yeah, tight rounds it's very difficult to pay attention.
If a guy gets wobbled, easy to score the round. If a guy gets taken down and ridden the whole round, easy. But it's when it's like you hit me twice, I hit you once.
Or you hit me like a little
harder.
I
hit you once, you hit me twice. I hit you. I mean, how do you count all this? When it's like back and forth a little bit, nobody gets rocked, nobody gets taken down, it's hard to score.
So after my last fight, they interviewed me like, hey, why are you retiring? And I was like, hey, man, because like part of it is because some of these guys don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it gets frustrating for me to put in all this work and do all these right things for some guy like, nah, him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And then I talked to also, do you know who Kyle Sermonera is? It's a big, he was on the he was on the Olympic ladder for wrestling.
All American from Buffalo.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, so I told him, like, I think it's bullshit. There's uneducated judges out there. Like, actually, I kind of think the opposite. Like, who could tell you who won a fight then someone doesn't know what they're looking at? Right? You watch two guys, in a street fight. You just know they're fighting.
Oh, he thinks that would be better.
He thinks it's kind of a good thing. Someone that does
nothing. He thinks it would be better if they didn't know what you're talking about.
But the thing is, like, it's not. Yes, it's a fight, but it's a sport. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I think it should be the
someone
winner is the winner is like who would win in a real fight is. But what you're saying reminds me of, like, I remember specifically. I had a bunch of college friends came and watched. Oh, where were we? It was GSP versus when he fought Hendricks.
Right.
Remember?
I was there. I was in Dallas.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe how terrible that decision was." And I was arguing, like, I don't know.
Sorry, you're good.
I'm not certain if it was a bad decision. It was like, I can see it, I don't remember now what it was, but it was like there were 2 rounds or 3 rounds that I thought where he could have gave him. Like but he was a bloody mess.
Yeah.
But if you go by the system, he like maybe edged him out in 3 rounds, but then got pummeled in a couple others, right?
So there's also another thing I was going to ask you. Like, what do you think about? Sometimes it's almost like he's the cool guy. He wins. Because sometimes I feel like that happens.
I think
sometimes the guy with like more momentum behind him, or the guy that like is more promotable, or
that's why judging's so fucked up. Because a judge could be a fan of that fighter, you know what I mean? So every close round's definitely going to that fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think there are bad judges in MMA. I think there are guys that don't know what they're doing, but I don't think we have like true corruption yet. I don't think where I felt like somebody was paid off. I just think they just don't know what they're doing.
They don't pay attention. They're not.
Maybe just not good. It's just bad judging.
Yeah.
Right.
But
then there's also sometimes with because I was on this like losing streak against Alpha Male, 3 in a row.
Oh man!
Lost to Alpha Male, all split decisions.
And I'm just like,
is it because like they're from Alpha Male and you as a judge know Alpha Male?
I see why.
And I come from like just a gym when there's like another UFC fighter from there. Not like
Yeah.
A good fight to talk about too with judging is the Feely fight. So they looked at him. They must have been like, oh well, Feely took Bermudez down. You know what I mean? So they scored the takedowns more for Feely. Like he took Dennis down, Dennis popped right back up. Outstruck him, outlanded him, and somehow Feely won the split decision.
Yeah, that is... You know what? Sometimes I think it's like... I always thought, like, the way some of the coaches handle things. Like, I remember specifically Greg Jackson, when... his guy would land something or take the guy down.
Yeah.
Or even if he threw something and it missed, he would be like, yeah, good. He was like
influencing the
cheering.
judges.
Yeah, and I felt like he was purposely like influencing the judges.
Oh,
and I'm
definitely.
like, oh man, this is interesting, and it works.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I actually looked back. Man, I've looked at those alpha male fights. Like I'm like, I don't get it. How did he win? And I would like dominate a round, and like afterwards, like just do like it's what I do after I spar.
Yeah.
Like in between rounds, I just walk my corner like nothing. Like I'm tired because I just emptied the tank, and I'm gonna go back out and do it again. Those guys would go with their hands up to the corner, and I was like,
that's a big thing from boxing too.
Yeah. I
So,
always
like,
wonder if that works.
The end
like
it works.
do you guys use tactics here like that kind of like?
That one I don't. I mean, I think we do. People do. I don't like that specific tactic, but yeah, it is. This is something you're supposed to do. I mean, we definitely don't want to look defeated.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'm not a guy who, thinks you should over celebrate or but definitely don't want to look defeated. You definitely want to have a good composure and relax your face, even if you're exhausted.
Because I remember when I fought Clay Guida. From the first round to the second round, like I think I was like on top of him, like just like was pummeling him in the first round. And he popped up.
He got up and started running sprints.
But his hair was exciting.
And I was just like, bro, you just got wrecked. What are you?
His gas tank is
After
massive.
you submitted him, and you got up and I remember him
ran.
running around and you looked at him like, what the fuck are you doing?
His gas
I
tank
remember
is
being
monstrous.
like, what?
He's one of those guys too, though.
Sick gas tank.
He's always been like right there. He's always toward the top of the division. He has really good wins and just
Well, I also think the game's evolved so much, and now you have this new breed coming in that's something special. Like you get to watch it firsthand.
Yeah,
you
it's
come
always
in
evolving,
and
daily, weekly, monthly, it's always evolving, always getting better. Always.
Oh yeah, and we could segue into that. Now you're coaching a lot of those people.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's always, and I mean, it's fun, and I like to play around it and feel it and see it and understand it, because it's a completely different game.
When you were fighting, were you coaching then?
I did for like my last fight. I think in 2012 I had like another major neck surgery, had a neck fusion, and then I was pretty banged up, and I was also like just about 38. My last fight was 2 weeks from my 38th birthday, so I was like 38 years old, and like just had a neck fusion, and I'm like, shouldn't be doing this probably, and I was after the neck surgery I started coaching, so because I was out for a while, so I started coaching because I was rehabbing, and then I lost, and I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
This is
because I remember I fought Steven Siler after you fought Steven Siler.
Yeah.
And like he won. I was like I'm now afraid of Steven Siler.
Yeah.
Like looking at him, like I don't fucking.
No, see, this is a reason why. Like, I felt like I was not taking it from Steven, but I felt like I was a much better fighter.
Right.
And if I'm losing to guys who like my chin wasn't holding up anymore. He's not a big puncher. He had a couple knockouts in his career in like 40-something fights, and the first shot I got hit with wobbled me and dropped me. It's like something's wrong. My body's saying.
And that's exactly what Yves told me when I asked him, like, when did you know you were done? He's like, because Yves
when I lost to that guy,
is better than, I forget who he said.
The guy's I know.
And he was
Akbar.
Yes.
He is 10 times better than Akbar.
And he was like,
Akbar was like 1-4 in the UFC. His one win was Yves. Like he was in and out. And Yves shouldn't have lost that one.
And not take anything from him, because there's many things that make great fighters. But if you watch him like technically on like the Akbar, like on like pads or something, he looks really like kind of unorthodox and goofy. Like he doesn't look very technical. He might have some other good attributes, but you're like, Yves has like 100 times the skill level as this guy.
And then on the contrary, right? So before I fought Jeremy Stevens, Yves had already fought him.
Stevens is a monster.
And Yves slept him, and like I've trained with Yves, like I've ran with Yves, and like I was like,
Yves just caught him perfect.
But I've actually never sparred with Yves though. I've only grappled with him, like rolled and wrestled and ran with him.
Right.
And like all those positions, like I was like, how are you?
No, he's very.
But
he's very.
he's also a
striker.
gamer.
No, he's a technical striker.
And he's a gamer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, Yves beat him. Like I'm gonna beat him, and then didn't go my way.
No, but he can. He's knocked a lot of dudes out.
Like you ever have any of your fighters or a friend like they're about to fight someone, and you're like, I don't like this fight for him. When he got booked against Jeremy Stevens, that's when I was like, oh god, Dennis, I didn't like that
Stevens
one.
is like a scary fight because he punches so damn hard.
Just swings.
He can punch.
He don't jab. He just
big puncher,
swings.
going for the kill all the time.
And whenever he fights, they put up that highlight of me and him going down. And I'm like, man, we really beat the crap out of each other.
Oh yeah.
You know.
You were fucking him up.
I know it. And then that's the fight game.
Dude, that's why. That's what makes it so much fun. It's crazy.
Do you gamble?
Best fighter? Yes, I do.
Oh, that's right. Because when I was down here, after we trained, you're like, hey, I'm gonna play a little poker. You want to come? I was like, I don't know how to play.
Oh, would you go to the Hard Rock?
No, I think you just play with a couple of friends at your house.
No, I play at the house, but I like to gamble on the fights also. I like have a Bovada account. Nothing major, small stuff. But nothing that like. I mean, my biggest bet's a couple $100, and that's like on a heavy favorite usually. It's not, not on a dog or anything.
Yeah.
Do you bet on your guys? I know like a lot of guys like
only to win,
well,
only to win, but not like not too much.
Because like the move, because I was training with Gregor Gillespie, and like he had his first UFC fight, and I think the odds were like something like it was not good for Gregor. And I was like, I almost bet the house on him.
I bet on Gregor.
I think I bet $500.
Yeah, that's good money.
Or
Gregor.
I think I was like, he's going to win.
Yeah.
Because I trained with him. I know.
Yeah.
I knew what was going down.
Champion. Yeah. And, it's like hard to screw things up.
Yeah, and then like I know like how I fight and how he does against me, and I know where I'm at in the UFC. So him being the debut, I'm like, dude, this is.
He's gonna smoke this guy.
Yeah, sometimes you got like kind of almost like insider information.
Yeah,
you know what a guy is capable of.
And that's what I'm saying.
They don't know yet.
Right, right. Nobody knows.
It's
so you got some guys like that.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little American Top Team now.
The gym is like rocking and rolling, man. Like.
Oh, you guys are crushing it. You got some big fights coming up. You got Covington, Usman. Is that official yet? Have
Not official. That? They don't have a date, but that's next.
Is Colby training?
Yeah, he's
like
training.
He's got to fight.
Yeah, he's training. I think they're waiting on Usman to be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He
just had something.
He's got surgery, right?
Yeah.
Something going on from his last fight, but dude, we have somebody like top 5 almost every weight.
Yeah.
Almost every weight, and multiple guys in the top 5 in every weight.
And it's been like this. Like 10 years ago when I was down here, that's what this gym was. They had everyone. They had the whole UFC roster team.
It's the best it's
now
been,
it's
by far.
Yeah, like back then, you guys didn't have a champion yet. Like Robbie hadn't come through. Once Robbie won that belt, it's like now Woodley, then Joanna, then Colby,
Dustin.
Yeah.
Amanda.
Oh my God! And it just never ended.
And many like knocking on the door. Like you got guys like Kyoji Horiguchi, who is like
he trains here.
Yeah, dude, the dorms are named after him. It's Horiguchi Hall, we call it, right? He's the only long-term resident upstairs. Like, it's got his name, and they got it some Japanese, right?
He's the one. He's about to fight Caldwell again, right?
Yes, he beat him in the first one. Yeah. Fighting him again for the second one.
Yeah, I was reading that recently.
So good, And I think he's a 25-pounder, and he's fighting at 35 because of the opportunities, right?
Right.
But also that,
dude, I believe he beats. I think he beats Henry, and he beats Demetrius in a rematch.
He's fighting healthy though.
He fought those guys. He fought Demetrius before he was with a big team. He was This is years ago. He was like 23, 24 years old. Wasn't with a big team yet. So he had some holes in his grappling. Came to a big team, kind of iron things. This guy's a monster. Physically, mentally, as good as it gets.
Yeah. You work a lot with him?
Yeah, I'd love to see him get another crack at either Henry or DJ. But right now he's at 30, 35. Well, he's in Ryzen, and Ryzen's allowing this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So Bellator sent Caldwell over to Ryzen. Horiguchi beat him, but he was their champion.
But they had something in the contract that said if Kyoji beats him, he gets an automatic rematch in Bellator. So and now they have in the contract too. So we got to give him another shot.
So he has a contract with Rizin or whoever. They said that now the deal is if he wins the Bellator belt, he has to defend it once a year.
Right, exactly.
I love.
Pretty cool.
I love the cross promotion.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Love that. I mean, like the trade was like kind of cool with Askren, and
it's really cool. This kid's phenomenal. This is a monstrous gym.
Monstrous.
Biggest gym, and he's got the hardest work ethic I've ever seen.
Horiguchi.
By far, Crazy speed, crazy power, crazy work ethic. Been doing karate since he was a little kid. Growing up, especially in early MMA, I didn't understand karate. I'm like,
right.
Karate shit works, man. Right. Dude, he changed my mind, man. This guy.
Because I remember being elementary school, and someone like, yo, don't mess with Jeremy. He knows karate. I'm like, I'll kick his ass. What do you mean he knows karate?
It's Japanese karate, different styles are different.
They're
Whole different animals.
And then in the plaza.
There's techniques in karate.
Yeah,
like if
that
you're
can be
doing
used.
point fighting, that sucks. But then if you land that strike, you'll fuck somebody up.
But a lot of it's good for MMA because it's the range they fight at.
Yeah.
They don't get like a Wonder Boy, right? Like the range or Machida, right? It's hard to touch them. They fight at a different range. It's much safer for MMA. They hit and don't get hit at all. So it's like with those little gloves and no.
Me and you could have used that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's
With our little stumps.
not my style. Yeah. I remember like just moving around with Kyoji. I mean, I'm much bigger than him, but it's like, dude, I don't know what I would do if I was.
It's hard to get.
I can't even touch him.
Right.
He's like running around. He hits me, runs around, hits me again. I can't even touch him. I don't even know what
he's
I would,
a beast.
If I was fighting, I don't know what I would even do.
So he's your top 25 pound, 25, 35
25,
pounder.
35 hit him. Also, Pedro Munoz.
Munoz, yeah.
Five, dude. He's right there.
Who is he about to fight now? No, he just knocked out Garbrandt.
Cody.
He's fighting Aljamain, I think.
Yeah,
Aljamain,
that's right.
So he's top 4 or 5 in the world.
Yeah.
You know, 145 we got Moicano, Renato Moicano.
He
This
just
guy,
got announced for someone too.
He lost to Aldo. His last one. This kid is a beast. Unbelievably good. He's fighting
a name.
a zombie, Korean zombie.
Korean zombie, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. I just saw that.
He's top 5.
That's a good fight there.
Yeah. 55, we got Dustin Poirier, the interim champ right now, right?
Yep.
We also got Edson Barbosa, top 5 guy.
Oh, he trains here now?
Yep. He's been here for a couple fights. 170, we're really deep. We got 3 guys in the top 8. We got
I would love.
Colby's the interim champ.
Is that going to be how weird? Because I know you're probably the coach that has to decide there. So if what's his name?
Masvidal.
Yeah, if
Masvidal's number 4.
If Masvidal beats Askren, is he
It
not
might
the number
be.
1 contender? You know.
It'll be a crazy problem to have. You know, it's gonna be a crazy problem to
So,
have.
like, who are the coaches that would have to
I
like?
don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out when we get there.
Like, no, I'm saying who that would have to make that decision. It's you.
Well, they kind of got to. I work with both of them. I think I'm the only coach that works with both of them.
Oh.
You know, I don't know what will happen. Maybe I'll have to sit out. We're gonna have to find out.
Flip a coin or something,
Hopefully,
yeah.
it doesn't.
Because a lot of times when that happens, when 2 top dogs in a gym get close, one of them goes, you know what? See ya.
Well,
and
these
switches
two are
over.
friends
not
too.
here, not
Right.
here.
Like they used to be roommates.
Yeah. No, they're pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
so
know each other
it's
really
going to be
well.
interesting.
We also got Ponzinibbio at number 8.
Yes,
Right,
and he's a
right,
killer.
Right, yes.
Tony Martin is like number 15 or 16. He was
Right.
on the rank and they took him off. But
Yeah.
He's 4-0 at 115.
He's on the come up.
He's very good too, man. He's
Yeah.
very good. Like one of the most improved guys I've seen.
Yeah, that whole you have that, and they all train together, right? That little group.
Yeah. It's like in and out. Well, now that they're in like the top 10, they're starting to like a little bit of separation just to be on the safe. They see the writing on the wall. Like,
Yeah.
I think we're gonna all be fighting for titles.
You're
soon.
all
So they're gonna
potential title contenders.
Yeah. I think they only fight for the title only, but it's getting to a point where it's gonna happen.
It might happen before the end of this year, possibly.
Yeah. 85, we got Shoeface, Cara de Zapato, Yoel Romero. Yeah.
Well, no, he went up to 205 now.
Did he?
No, he's 85.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Okay.
He hasn't booked anything yet.
No.
Oh,
But he's
it was
talked about it.
rumors,
He talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think 85 is his home. you know.
Yeah.
He kind of trains in satellite schools. He's not always here at the big.
He's
gym.
from Miami, right? Or
Yeah.
trains at the Miami gym.
Yeah. He kind of does his own thing.
You just
bounces
are
around.
here, right?
I'm only here. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing too. That's so crazy about American Top Team. I remember 10 years ago there was top teams almost on every corner. Now it's probably more, right?
Yeah.
You guys are
there's a
still
lot-
growing.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of them.
All over South Florida.
Yeah.
Top team.
Yeah.
And they just changed like the location, right?
They like usually like that.
There was like a Long Island top team.
Names
I
or
saw.
big students go open up their own gym.
It's like a lot of pro
Yeah.
fighters. They supplement their income, open their own gym.
Yeah.
But then they come and spar here.
Yeah, this is
Right.
the headquarters, the main
Like
academy,
they
you know.
come
Yeah.
spar and work out here, but.
Yeah, so when I was down here 10 years ago, that's where what I kind of did is this was like the other place was the main academy. I got to go every now and then, but then I would be in West Palm Beach. I would be, I think it was ATT on Sample or Fort Line Road.
That was
the one Edson had. Yeah.
No, he was good.
And then that's what it was. It was like one big gym
Right.
here.
Right.
You know what I mean? With like little sister schools where the same guys train, and then every now and then.
Yeah, they're teaching to general students,
Yeah.
making some cash, you know.
Because I mean, going back to
Oh, and then the Bakeo classes. I used to sit like I
Well,
used
the
to.
sparring was pretty rough.
Oh my God! I used to come in here and like be able to be like a fly on the wall and watch like UFC fights.
Things
have mellowed out.
Yes.
Since all like the CTE
Yeah.
talk and
So what do
information.
you guys kind of doing about that? Like, what's as a coach? What's the? Because I know like when guys are moving around, like, yo, man, just work for touches, and like the difference between like sparring and it's just like that extra like finishing the punch versus. But like, there's also something to be said about like that feeling right, and there's extra energy in that, not getting tired doing that. So it's weird.
Yeah,
it's a double-edged sword, I like to call it. You know, like training with really, really, really good guys and getting really, really good looks. But at the same token, like you're getting like sometimes really, really banged up.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not going into those fights. Yeah. Super healthy. You know, I mean, I've heard Cowboy say like he didn't spar at all this camp or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? And then he goes out and knocks the guy out. I was like, all right, maybe there's something there. You know.
You definitely get better from sparring hard. 100%.
Yeah.
It makes you a better fighter.
100%. You need
it's
to.
like experience. It's like if you have, it's like having 100 fights, 200 fights, 500 fights.
Right.
You know, so you get, but it's at a cost, right?
Right.
And now with all the CTE stuff, it's like people are like. I remember back in the day, it was like really common to be. People would just brawl like completely senseless, like just trying to kill the guy, see if you could do it. You know, like. But now it's like if somebody's brawling like that, you're like, whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it's you try to keep it, you know, under control, under wraps. You know?
So towards the end of my career, I had like my go-to training partners, and then I had guys that I would consider disposable. And I would
go hard.
I would kind of like, all right, let me try to finish this guy. So I'd like when it's time to finish a guy.
Yeah.
Because I think some people play it so safe sometimes with their workouts that when they actually fight, I watched Gianblante fucking wobble, dude, and then like 11 minutes wins, like, all right, you cool? And then start playing it, and Keith Strum was like, what are you doing? In a fight.
Yeah, it's no good. Yeah.
But it's that like he always does it.
Nice
training.
Yeah.
So when it comes, you know, that almost comes natural to like, you good? All right, let's keep working, you know?
Yeah.
But like I said,
that's what you should do in training, but not in a fight.
Right. So I mean, but there's something to be said about doing it in training. Because I know like over, I think, King's MMA, like my manager told me on opening day when they first opened, like there was like 2 or 3 guys knocked out unconscious.
Yeah.
You know, and like I talked to Pat Cummings.
We try not to have that.
Yeah, I talked to Pat Cummings, and like, he's like, you know, it's good work over there, but like, you know, like I'm getting up and Verdum's throwing flying knees at me, trying to finish me.
Oh, you know? Be safe, man.
There's that video online. You watch Vanderlei and Verdum, and they're fighting.
Yeah.
It's a full blown fight. Yeah. And Vanderlei's like beating the shit out of him.
Now I think that's also like a cultural thing too.
Cultural.
Everyone's different.
Dude, I mean, I think that was older too, right? I think people are getting wiser to that. Another good video is if you ever watched the Dustin Poirier documentary Fight Bill when he was a beginner.
Yeah.
In that, this is in Louisiana, they had like MMA gloves on and they're fighting. They're going like 100% with MMA gloves, killing each other. Yeah. And he was just a kid.
He's a good example.
He was messing dudes up.
Does he spar really hard? He seems like he does. Well, he fights.
No, I mean there are times he does. I mean he's not like he used to be like that. He tries to take care of his because he's also so damn good. It's like he's not. I mean if you knock the guy out, we don't have him anymore.
Yeah, you know how like when you throw punches like this, you're okay, but then when you start like loading him up, you feel like you're gonna get tired.
He goes hard.
I get tired watching him fight.
No,
he's an amazing.
Really good.
He throws.
Holloway. Both those guys were like full extension, long punches, but with very high volume.
Well, they both have great gas tanks.
Yeah.
Both of them are sick gas tanks.
Sick gas tanks.
Yeah.
That fight was amazing.
Yeah.
So I hit him up. Like, hey man, I'm in your hood, you know? I sent him like a pin. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in Miami. He's like, I'm in Louisiana. I'm like, God damn it, you know? But he said he's never here last weekend.
Yeah, he was here last weekend. He went to the Bahamas with his wife. He's kind of chilling. Yeah, I think he'll be back.
So now a guy like Dustin, he splits his time, or he just comes here for camps, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, he lived here for years.
He goes in the dorm?
No, he lived here for several years. I don't know, 4 years or something like that. But then when they had his daughter, kids, they went back and bought a house in Louisiana where he's born and raised, him and his wife. And
are his parents there?
His parents, her parents.
So that's
same
probably
town. But so now he comes and does his camps, and he rents an Airbnb because he brings his whole family.
Okay.
He gets like brings his wife and his daughter.
Yeah, I'm a big Dustin Poirier fan.
No, he's the man. But
I like I said, I like guys that bring it. And every fight, I know he fucking
fight of the year candidate.
Yeah, he throws.
And Masvidal's another one of those guys that
super.
I love Masvidal too.
Because he was like a YouTube star, right? Like,
dude, he's
Yeah.
been
fighting
fighting
the
since a
streets.
teenager. Like on the, it's crazy that the UFC never got behind him earlier and pushed him more.
I always thought he was so
See that?
underrated.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
He has so many skills.
Yeah.
He'll be a great coach because he's like a really in-depth knowledge of boxing, in-depth knowledge of Thai boxing. He's got a really good one of his main trainers is like a Taekwondo champion. So he's got then he got really into wrestling, so he knows really intricate parts of many different sports. Probably more weapons than anybody I know.
I loved when he used to do those. What were they called? The videos?
It was called
Like the Miami video. I love those things.
Miami Hustle.
Miami Hustle,
no,
something like that. Yeah, I
Miami?
think that's what it was. But I used to love watching
Like
those.
Genghis Khan was the guy.
Yeah. And then there's that one where him and Colby are in the apartment
And they're wrestling.
beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
You told me about that, and I went back and watched it. I was like, wow.
I think
It's like 1 hour later, and they're still like, ah.
I forget if
it.
Colby has the choke on him, but he's like, one of them have a rear naked choke, and he's like finger prying to break the choke. You know what I mean? Like they were going at
But
it.
this was what made Masvidal so good. It was like he threw his ego to the side and forced himself to wrestle with all the best wrestlers he could find. He became really good friends with Colby, and every day he'd be like, I want to go with Colby, and then Colby would beat him up, and he'd be like, again, until his wrestling got phenomenal. You know, like some guys' egos can't take it, especially when you're like a famous fighter. Some guys don't want to take it, and it's not very glamorous.
Yeah.
Trying to learn wrestling at 25
Like
years old.
stylistically, if there's a guy out there that's a very tough matchup for Askren, it's Masvidal.
Yeah, he can do it all, man. He's gonna do it, man. I'm very confident in him.
Now, how often do you work with a guy like Masvidal?
Man, right now 3 or 4 times a week because of the fight coming up.
Mm-hmm.
But he lives in Miami, comes up here 3 or 4 times a week. He'll work with me and Steve Mako. His main striking coach is Paulino Hernandez, who he's been with since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's here a lot.
So I've got an amazing Steve Mako story. So there's this guy, his name's Cliff. He wrestled at Buffalo, and he wrestled with my buddy Serm that I was telling you about before, right? So Serm wrestled on the Olympic ladder, so he knew Mako very well. Mako was in Long Island, right? And this guy Cliff had this he's got this weird ego. He when he gets drunk, he gets a little crazy. Like when I'm around him, he gets drunk, I'm like, yo man, because he's one of those guys so in the UFC, huh? And you could see him sizing you up, I think I could fuck him up, and you're like,
really?
Oh, God, yeah. So anyway, so he goes, for no reason, that big guy thinks he's tough. I'm gonna smack him in the face, and Serm's like, dude, don't.
Where are you?
They were in Long Island.
Where are you at a bar?
They're at a bar,
okay.
right? She's like, I'm gonna smack that big guy, and Serm's like, dude, don't.
What are you talking about?
Again, he's like the guy gets drunk and
yeah, something's wrong with him.
So. Don't. He's like, nah, whatever. So whatever goes over, fucking bang.
Random. For no reason.
Pretty much just whatever. And Steve asked him about this. He goes, do that again, and I'll smash your face off this bar. Steve
did.
Bang, and broke his teeth, and his blood just everywhere. Just
He hit Steve
again. He smacked him again, and then Steve. Like he said he was going to do, took his head and smashed it off the bar.
This is incredible.
So you are I love wrestling. So Steve Mako is...
I know who he is, yeah.
No. You don't know how he was in wrestling. He's one of the meanest motherfuckers alive. With wrestling,
he was known for that, and he was one of the greatest heavyweights ever.
Yeah.
If not the greatest, yeah.
This guy, and I think
heavyweight.
He was great because... he was so fucking mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you could fist fight, that's why when I heard him give him MMA, I'm like, man, this is up your alley, dude.
There's a good documentary on him on Flow Wrestling and on side.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Did I see that one?
It's really nice.
It's a new one.
No, a couple years old.
So maybe that's the one I think I'm. Maybe that's the one I'm. Well, no, I was watching.
It's really good.
It's just on wrestling, right? Not MMA.
No, it's just about his life story.
Okay.
I mean, it goes from everything from his childhood to. It's really cool. It's really cool.
The documentary that I saw on him was the old school Iowa one.
Season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he's with the Zanuck brothers.
Season.
And
He's quiet. Yeah.
And
It's all
and they talk.
black and white.
Yes. And they talk about how mean he was.
Yeah. Right. The bear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a fucking bad mother, and still is a bad mother.
Where were you when he smashed this guy's?
Man, I wasn't there. This is I'm hearing this. This is a secondhand story.
Yes, good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Sounds like quite the animal, that guy.
And so
his name is the Bear.
Yeah, we didn't get through your whole ATT roster because we stopped at
middleweight. We didn't go to light heavyweight.
I know you guys have a couple of Russians here that are fucking
205. We have we got 205. We got Alex and who else? We got Thiago Santos, who's fighting John Jones for the title.
Oh, he trains here?
That's not too bad, right?
Yeah, no, he was doing good.
Another top 5 guy there.
And any day, granted, John Jones is the GOAT, whatever. Any fight, Buster Douglas could show up.
Of course, this guy, he's going to be the favorite. But Santos is a wild, hard-hitting striker. So it's like, hey, anything can happen when you got that guy in there.
Let's take it back to that Uriah Faber fight.
Yeah. I mean, this guy, and it also changes when you're talking about bigger guys, right? Because the punching power there's much more chance for an upset when the bigger they get, right? Because they get so damn hard.
Santos is more of a striker. He's not
right,
jiu-jitsu
striker, crazy stuff. Like spinning heel kicks, flying knees.
I think Jones is probably going to grapple him.
Yeah, I mean, but all it takes is that one.
Right.
He throws one distance, and you get hit.
You got to catch him with something.
And then you have
heavyweight.
Yeah.
Junior Dos Santos, top 5 guy. Former champion Andrei Arlovsky. We got some younger guys.
How long's he been here, Arlovsky? I know he was Jackson's for a while.
Not very long. Like 6 fights, 7 fights.
I've got a confession to make.
Yeah.
The Fang mouthpiece wasn't my idea.
Everyone knew this already.
What do you mean?
Like, I've seen Arlovsky had it back in the day.
Oh, wait.
So I got it in college for wrestling.
He was one of the first guys,
Yeah. But, and then I watched him because he had, a 3D one, a 3-dimensional Fang off his mouth guard, and that's when I'm like, I need that. And then, but he would go back and forth from, the 3-dimensional Fang to, what everybody has, the printed-on Fangs. I stuck hard with the 3-dimensional Fang.
I think he was the also, I'm not sure if he was or not. He was one of the first pit bulls, maybe the first pit bull nickname too, because that's a common name,
Now there's 7 of them.
Yeah, it is.
There is.
We have Thiago Alves. To me,
he's the most known pit bull.
Yeah. But because Brazilians kind of take on the name, right? Mm-hmm. You don't even know his name. A lot of guys, right? Brazilians, for some reason, they literally they only go by their nickname, so you forget their name. Like pit bulls, I call him as pit bull. I don't call him anything else.
Yeah.
Probably everyone, I would say.
Oh, no, the welterweight, dude. I can't believe I missed Pitbull.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He used to train a lot with my cousin George back in the day. So when I first that night that we went to the fights, as we were walking up, I'm with my cousin, a couple of my friends. Pitbull walks over. This is when he was at his height.
Dude,
walks over, said what's up.
100.
He took us off the line and got us and walked us in the fight. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking hanging out with Thiago Alves right now.
Right.
But that was really big.
He was back then. He was this big, wide. He was fucking huge. This is around the Matt Hughes when he was just
knocked out Matt Hughes.
Yeah, he was so big that I remember being I would never fucking spar this guy. Ever.
He was a monster. There was 3 wins in a row where it was he knocked out Kyle Parisian, he knocked out Matt Hughes, then he beat Koscheck.
Yeah.
And then he got the shot with GSP. That was big, man. I mean, welterweight is probably the deepest, toughest weight class, because it's probably the most men at that weight. It's a very difficult weight.
Because I remember when I came here to work out, we're kind of moving around, and someone was like, hey, and he was getting ready for a fight. Hey, will you work? And I think because you guys, some gyms don't pay attention to who comes in and works with who, and then you get your gym heroes. But I had moved around a little bit. They had watched me, all right, this guy isn't out of control. So I was allowed to train with them. But it was again very light. We were just kind of doing a light rolling.
Luckily, you didn't get
He's a guy who I've always admired. Where he goes really, he doesn't train super hard, and he's. As far as spar hard, I've seen him be really nice to where a lot of guys, when they're much better than somebody, sometimes they beat the other guy up. He goes really easy on guys that he's better than. I've always noticed that, and only if you really mess with him, he'll turn it up. But he really keeps it tame.
Yeah.
And especially because he's a very high level striker.
When I spar with someone I've never sparred with, it's just almost pawing, and if I go off of what so if you tag me, it's
that's polite.
Okay.
Yeah, that's polite.
Here we go. Especially if it's not my
dictate.
Gym. Especially if it's not my gym. You know what I mean? Yeah. Other gyms, I'm okay, let's just move nice and easy. Almost like we're not even sparring.
Yeah, and then see what they want. Yeah. See what they want to do.
Yeah.
Is Lombard still here too?
No, he started like. I don't know how many more. He started his own little small gym.
Yeah,
not too far
I was
away.
thinking who was.
He was known for going hard.
That's exactly what I was going to. Yeah, I was going to say who'd be the guy you don't want to spar. And I was like, probably Lombard.
Hang on. My manager tells me when I come here. I told him I was coming for the week. Whatever. He's like, whatever you do not go with Hector Lombard. I don't care if he tries to whatever. Like, just no.
Leave him alone.
And it just so happened I think he was out of the gym that
week.
He
has a reputation for very good reason.
Like, because my manager's like, he knocks out anybody from 125 to heavyweight.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you weigh, he's fighting you the same. Yeah.
What,
somehow.
What skin color, what nationality.
He's like a Gotti family friend. So he was at John's fight.
Oh, okay.
And Adam Sepulveda, he's one of the head coaches at ATT Fort Lauderdale. He's a black belt under Laborio.
Okay.
He comes in every now and then. Shaved head.
Not a fighter, just a competitor. Oh,
he's
from Australia.
No. He's fought. I'll get you a picture of him. You know my face, definitely. Right. But he was fighting Matt Secord in CBS. And then Hector was going to be there. So he was like, I'll have Hector jump in my corner. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was supposed to go upstairs and get Hector when Hector called me. Yeah. Hector never called me.
Yeah.
But he thought maybe I should have known that he was there telepathically or something. So when he came downstairs, he was like, everyone's like, oh, there he is, what's up? And he was pissed. He's like, what's up? Yeah, what's up? Who the fuck was supposed to come get me? And then everyone did like him. And everyone like pointed to me, and I was like, oh yeah, you didn't hit me up. He's like, oh, I didn't hit you up. More fucking like he just started going fucking nuts on me. And I remember looking at Adam being like, yo, Hector Lombard's about to beat the shit out of me. Like I'm not gonna back down from him. So I said to him like, bro, like relax. Like I'm not trying to. And he's like, when I told him to relax, like, like I'm not trying to be a dick to you, and he like gave me like the side eye, and then Adam gave him like the calm down. He went upstairs, started talking to John Gotti, so I'm thinking in my head like, now I'm gonna have a little beef with Hector Lombard tonight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one of the toughest middleweights on the planet.
Oh my God!
I don't want to have to.
I walk upstairs though, and luckily John Jr., the father, saw me, shook my hand, was like, "Did you meet Hector?" And then Hector turns around and sees it's me and goes, "Oh," like realize, oh, all right, so you're cool, you're with this guy, yeah. And then he started buying me drinks. He started taking Instagram videos. Like, I'm going to send this to all over the world. And he was like, taking fucking...
So like I said, I had this like bad vision of him. But whenever I ever saw him at fights...
really nice outside of sparring.
I guess it's the way I fight, too. That he was like, hey, man, like what's up? And I'm like, why are you nice to me? I thought
he's a really nice guy.
Nicest guy in the world.
Sparring, but out sparring, he gets a little crazy.
Which is very, like, how many times have you gotten it really mixed it up with, like... But I've always, I've never let my emotions, got it a little bit. I've never let my emotions get out in sparring.
Right. Yeah.
It's always been like, Batman, like hit me hard, like all right, cool. Like,
I used to go hard too.
Get done, like, dude, sick.
No, yeah. I like to go hard. I was better at going hard than going because I'm not fast. I feel like if you're not a quick guy, you almost have to go hard, right? Or you're gonna get out
to get the respect.
If they have to be afraid of you. If you're just touching each other. And you're not that fast, you're gonna lose every time.
Right.
So if you have power, you need to use it if you're gonna like win the rounds in sparring. You know?
But yeah, if I come and get close to you and like boom, like and that can just work. But if I'm afraid of that, like when I come in, it changes because all you do is that.
That's different.
And it changes things, man. Like fuck, I don't want any more of that, dude.
All right, well, we're getting close to 6 o'clock now, so you got something to do, Mike, right?
Yeah, I gotta roll out. We gotta teach a class here.
All right, well, we appreciate you for joining us, doing this, letting us hear the whole nine.
Man, thanks for.
We are going to. We're gonna be around this weekend. So, I mean, if you got any more fighters, we can sit down and do this stuff.
Send them your way, dude.
Here's what you gotta send to us. You gotta send us Colby. So I have a lot of mutual friends with Colby.
Yeah.
And my one friend hit him up, and Colby is kind of, I'm gonna say he's big timing us. I know he does a lot of interviews.
He was in here this morning.
He said...
I'll give him... okay. I'll send the text right now.
He said, sounds like a cool show, but I got to pass right now. I'm not doing any interviews or podcasts.
I don't know. Maybe he's been getting...
he's probably getting hit up all the time, but...
I'm sure he does.
Let him know Menace and the Man is the show.
Because he is known to drop a couple...
Well, even you'll see, you see what's going on here. Was this like a typical journalist interview?
No, it's pretty laid back.
Yeah, we're shooting the shit.
Watches like what you guys have, man. I'm sure it'll be cool.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we don't want to be those jerk-off journalists in the MMA community. We want to be like the fighters show. We want to get fighters on and just have them laugh, chill, tell us some cool stories, and let's laugh about some shit.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Well, we'll just find out if he's got anything going on until Sunday. 'Cause you guys are out on Sunday, yeah.
Well, we have tomorrow. But if we don't get him, we'd like to even get him to call in or something.
Yeah.
Got pretty cool. You were sponsored by Gamma Labs, right?
Nope.
G Fuel?
Nope.
Gamma Labs? No.
Never heard.
Back in the day?
Nope.
Was it called Gamma O?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I was never. No.
You got the wrong Mike Brown.
I was Champion Nutrition. I was. What else? I had a couple. Maybe. No, never this one. Never.
Well,
I was with Champion for a long time. That was probably one of my biggest sponsors.
Well, Mike Brown, we appreciate the time.
Thanks so much, man. Hey, I love what you guys are doing, man.
I think Daru's still here. We're going to try and grab him.
Be sure to let American Top Team know that Menace and the Man is very supportive. We're all about it.
This guy, man.
Yeah.
Old school. Enjoy that retired life.
Yeah. Talk to the people. Say, I'm going to try and grab Daru real quick.
All right. So, you see what's up with that, and I'll sit here.
Talk to the people in the chat.
What are they saying? I can't see what they're saying. Read your chat. Stone Cold Steve Austin. They're not really saying nothing in the chat. Holloway's ass. What do you call? 3 mics might be a bit much. I can hear you on all 3 mics. All right. Well, we apologize for that. We're just trying to figure out some technical stuff. We're new to all of this, so slowly but surely we'll start figuring everything out and continue to bring you guys some dope content. Hope you guys enjoyed Mike Brown. I believe Dennis is trying to get the strength coach of American Top Team. So if we get him, we'll chat with him for a few minutes and then wrap this thing up. What do you got to teach a class now?
Working with you.
No, Mike Brown's a G. Super nice guy. And a legend in the game. Go check out some of his fights. Time he beat Uriah Faber, some of his WEC fights, his UFC fights. And now all the American Top Team people are crushing it at the moment. John, right? Yeah, how you doing, Stanley? I met you. You know you from back in the day. I used to train at the old ATT.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. Remember Baroni? George? Yeah. I used to come in with him all the time. Yeah. How you been? I recognize the face. I gained a lot of weight, so I don't look the same. I used to have long hair too back in the day. Yeah. I trained under. I used to train a little bit with Laborio, but I used to train under Edson. Just interviewed Mike Brown. We were doing a little podcast. I do a show with Bermudez. Yeah, we're actually live right now. Huh. Are you still the manager here? Yeah, so. All right. Yeah, you're doing pro wrestling now too, right? I've seen that. Yeah, how'd you get into that? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's here too, King Mo, right? Yeah. I'm surprised we forgot him. A little more. You got to get you in. Yep, there you go.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't even know what you're talking about. Phone charger? There's one in there. Oh, I don't know.
So we're back.
Nice to officially meet you.
Stan the Man, Daru, Coach Daru. What's your first name again?
Phil.
Phil, that's right.
Phil Daru?
Yep.
He's the head strength coach here at ATT. But you go all around, man.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I do a lot of seminars, do a lot of tours out there. I mean, I work with Frankie Edgar,
Right, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Iron Army is a sponsor of mine, so utilizing them as far as from the supplementation standpoint.
Okay.
They do have a lot of good supplements when it comes down to recovery. Definitely like their products, so it was a good fit. And obviously everybody loves Frankie, so.
Right. Oh, yeah, Frankie's the man. Because I started following you, you came across my thing, I'm like, dude, this guy knows what he's talking about, right? So my strength coach, I love working out. I love the whole thing. That's why I was like, what app is that? Like, what do you, I love watching your drills and stuff like that. And you're like one of those guys that does it too. It's not this, because like, nothing's worse, right, than a fat strength coach. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And you see them all the time.
All the time, man.
No, dude, right?
Well,
how many people come up to you and like, hey, you should do this? Like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
It happens. I mean, even around like, and fighters get it all the time. Like, oh man, you should probably throw that leg kick. Like, you don't know anything.
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I mean, I take it with a grain of salt and just kind of be like, okay, thank you, but I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But I take it upon myself to make sure that I'm training the sports that will help with my own coaching, along with, I like to compete. I've been an athlete all my life. I was a professional fighter myself for 8 years.
Right, I saw that.
So I love to stay in the game. I love to stay relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And along the lines of that, even right now, I'm still like, I do jiu-jitsu every now and again. I'm in the gi probably 3 to 4 times a week. Something like that. So I can stay in the sport I love.
Yeah.
And practice it as much as I can, because then it makes me understand the bioenergetic demands of the sport, because I'm in it.
Right.
And then again, it helps me with communication with the fighters. They understand it from a reframing standpoint of actually why I'm doing things. And I can, kind of relate or correlate that over to the fight game, whatever it is, from the strength and conditioning standpoint.
Yeah, right. Because a big thing that I loved was working with people that have done it. Sometimes I watch a coach, I'm like, and we have a coach at our gym that trains amateur fighters to fight, and I'm like, yo, dude, you should just do one fight yourself, just so you know what the fuck it feels like.
Yeah.
And because it's one thing to, say it, but it's another to actually do it. So that's one thing I loved about working with Chris Algieri, who you work with all the time and do seminars. Is not only is he a world champion, he's a nutritionist, and he uses it on himself. So it's just like, I know it works. He knows what I'm going to feel like because he feels like it too, or whatever, Yeah. And so with you, doing jiu-jitsu, lifting, having fought yourself, and I'm sure you do, I see you on the mitts every once in a while, So like, one of the biggest things in MMA, right, is just overworking.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And non-communication between coaches.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I talk about in my seminars, man, is having, constant lines of communication with the skills coaches. Luckily, you guys have Mike Brown on.
Right.
Constant communication with all these guys, so that we have meetings every week to actually understand what's going on with the fighters from that perspective. I also am here in the gym, so I get to see their skills training, see how they're actually performing in sparring, in wrestling, and then I can make sure that I auto-regulate according to how they're feeling that day. Because again, this sport is so multifaceted, we have to make sure that we have the proper means to auto-regulate and change things up on the fly if we need to. Yeah. I do it on a daily basis. You always have to have a plan B. And a good coach can take what he has from a skeleton perspective of an overall plan, and then correlate that subjectively to that individual on that same time.
Right. So I've you've met my buddy Andy Gallopin, correct? You guys work together a little bit. So like usually before every fight camp, I would throw together my own schedule where I think makes sense, and I would send it his way, and he'd be like, bro, this is what you just sent me is CrossFit.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you need, your nervous system's getting racked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, by sparring day, which is Friday, you're zapped.
Yeah.
That needs to be your best day. Because that's what you're actually going to do, and a lot of people don't get that, and it's I think it's kind of like a wrestling mentality thing, like more is better.
Yeah.
That's what I always,
I think it's because when fight time comes, you have that mind game of, did I do enough to prepare? Right. That's what you're doing every day. Yeah.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's from a competitive standpoint. Like even now, even when I compete in powerlifting, like my last meet, I had my best meet my last meet, right? I had hit my best numbers.
Fuck, I'm talking about.
My man. Hit my best numbers, and but at the end of the day, when I got to the meet, I was like, man, maybe I should have hit that last heavy squat. But I took 15 days off. But even though I know the science behind it, I know, the proper periodization scheme that I utilize to help me peak, I'm still like, man, I should have took it because it's just in my mind. I'm a competitor, I'm an athlete.
Right.
So you have to make sure as a coach, you can relay that over to the athlete to make sure that they understand that they've done everything possible to be ready for this fight. It's funny because I do this a lot. It's like, for instance, Dustin Poirier, right? He's always one of those guys that thinks he needs to do more than what he has to do, right?
Yeah.
And I relayed it over to him like, yo, listen, man, if we can get just a solid foundation and keep it consistent, and so that you don't overtrain and you actually get what's called super compensation after rest, and you get to maintain those adaptations that you did prior, he feels $100. You know what I'm saying? Or, at the end of the day, we're looking at maximal or optimal performance. So you don't want to overtrain, you don't want to overdo it. And a lot of times I have to pull these guys back because they want to do more.
Dude, that was like when I fought. That was my favorite thing. When a coach was like, "Dan, stop."
Yeah.
Like, you're wrecked. Because the thing is, like, if I'm feeling like crap and it starts showing, it's like, and I've watched coaches let me like keep going. And I'm like, dude, come on, like. I'm constantly trying to grab dudes and be like, dude, you're good, stop. What are you doing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Because I think people also, because I know, like, I'm guilty, like, at the end of the day, it's a fist fight.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Beat him up. That's it.
Yeah.
Hurt him.
Yeah.
People, simple. I got my guillotine has to be, and just get the extra, which is also really good stuff, and I want to be super strong, and it's like, so going back to guys being ready to train, do you use any science or any tests to be like, all right, you're good to go today?
Yeah, I mean, we usually use the Mega Wave and a
I use the Mega Wave,
heart rate variability monitor. I used it a lot with Dustin in his past fight, and also when he fought Gagey, because we knew we wanted to make sure that he was ready at all times. And honestly, it gives us the technology, and I don't have to be the bad guy. Right. We're gonna be like, okay, listen, this is what it says today, so maybe we should follow this. Because it's kind of smart, right? At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we have those means, and then other means of like just watching their coordination. And it's obviously more of a subjective indicator than an objective indicator.
Right.
But we use both, right? So use a dynamometer for hand grip. If their hand grip is actually down that day, that usually is an indication of, they're slightly fatigued.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I mean also, if you look at a baseline from their heart rate in the morning, their resting heart rate, if their resting heart rate is elevated that day, if let's say 6 to 7 beats, they're usually in a state of overtraining. So we want to bring that down too as well. Again, I like to go back to the coordination standpoint and then just the overall look on an athlete, And when I say, and even though some of them may say, no, I'm all right, you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their mannerisms, how they move, and then if their coordination's off, if they're a little bit slower from a reaction standpoint, we usually pull them back a little bit. And then a lot of the times they're really honest with me. Like, Coach, I'm fried. So I'm like, okay, fine, that's fine. We can pull it back.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's I love hearing that because you're going to get your athletes to the very, very top and best they can be, because so I've been around gyms and like it's also an old school like mindset where like you just being a pussy, like what do you mean? We mean you like you're a fighter, like what you just being a pussy, like no. How many times have I come up to you like, yo man, fucking not doing good, like not that many.
Yeah, I mean, we're not training for the Navy SEALs. That's the one thing that people don't get is that we are athletes, and you're trying to get the most optimal amount of performance out of that athlete, right? The body can only take so much. The nervous system can only take so much. So we have to be smart in our approach. And there's still ways to still train, but not to the level of where you're going to run yourself into the ground. So again, if they are in a slightly fatigued state, there's things that we can do. We can do low-level mobility work, right? We can do just some tempo runs to bring their body back down, right? We can do some diaphragmatic breathing treatment or something along the lines of that to bring their body back down to parasympathetic so that they can be ready for any type of other training going through the week and even through that day.
Right. So a lot of people are like my friend right here, right? He has no idea what you're talking about with this breathing, right? So after you lift, your body's kind of in this like state of like, for example, if we were a caveman, right, and we ran from a fucking saber-toothed tiger, right?
Fight or flight.
Even though we got away from the saber-toothed tiger, our bodies are like, we're still like this kind of, right? So that's kind of what happens after a workout is you're like, and your body's still alert, and we want to get into recovery mode, which is almost like to sleep, and you do certain types of breathing to make that happen.
Yeah.
Right. Also, sometimes food can do that too.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, food, sleep, and nutrition in general is going to help, obviously, with recovery.
Right.
Proper nutrition, making sure that you have the right amount of fuel, depending on what you trained. A lot of times when you're doing a highly glycolytic or high volume type of workout, especially something like wrestling or something like that, just talking about skills training perspective, you definitely need to put in some type of carbohydrates. Right. You earn those carbohydrates in a sense because you had depleted your glycogen stores inside the muscle.
Right.
So we want to pull that back in. Right. Again, obviously, we want to have some protein for muscle breakdown, also for recovery of the muscle that we broke down. Right. We're in a catabolic state at that point, so we want to get our body back to an anabolic state of muscle building. Again, sleep is highly important. 7, 8, even 9 hours for these guys are important, and then also taking naps. Right. 30-minute naps are very important to help regulate that response from a parasympathetic standpoint. Right. That's that rest digest. Right, and then obviously the diaphragmatic breathing through your diaphragm.
Right.
I put my guys and girls in a 90-90 position on the wall, so their feet will be up on the wall, 90-degree angle of their legs, and they're breathing diaphragmatically, basically breathing through the
Do you put their hips above their heart?
Yeah, at some point if I can, right? A lot of times I don't have the means to do so, but as long as they're getting their legs up and we're bringing that pool of blood back into the heart, and we're working on that breathing technique, and usually, again, in perfect circumstances, I would like to have the room dark and nobody be around and block all the noise. But obviously, crazy here, you know. So, but at the end of the day, we're just trying to make sure we get that. Again, when you're talking about in camp, out of camp, I don't want them really to lose a lot of that information that they've gained in the training because I do want that adaptation. I do want that stimulus adaptation. So I don't tell them to go into like an ice bath or something along the lines of that. I want them to actually have their body recover from it naturally. When they get into camp, however, our goal is to make sure that they recover as fast as possible. So yes, doing those ice baths are going to help that perspective because we don't want any muscle breakdown at that point in time.
And then also, ice baths are like a fucking mental thing too.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I was on the Ultimate Fighter, I did an ice bath after we would work out twice a day. After the second workout, I'd take an ice bath every day because I was just like, I just know my opponent isn't doing this.
True.
You know, and it's just fucking, and also the recovery aspect of it.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so like. Ice can get expensive, man. And it was
sure.
like on the UFC's dollar. They were fucking like 2 feet of ice in like a 120-gallon like fucking like dumpster styled like fucking
garbage can?
Yeah, and it was like, and they would start doing it like when we started warming up. So by the time you got in it, it was so cool. Like you motherfuckers.
That's the worst, almost one of the worst feelings right there. I was in Manchester, up in Manchester doing a seminar last weekend, and these guys wanted me to go fucking paddleboarding with them in this water, which is like, I want to say maybe it was like 15 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh,
like,
fuck that.
And they were like used to that shit. So I'm like dipping my feet in. I'm like trying not to be a bitch about it. I'm like,
let me get my Wim Hof.
Yeah. I'm like trying to get my breathing techniques in, and I finally got in there and paddleboarding and stuff like that. But man, it was cold, man, and that right there will put you in another zone. But that's the great thing about it too, is the mental aspect of it, because and that's another thing when you're talking about gaining an edge, right? From a confidence standpoint, fighters really need that, you know. And when you step into the cage, then you know this more than anybody, man. It's 90% mental.
Yeah.
Because you can have all the physical capabilities you have like set. But if you don't know how to put it together mentally, and you're not efficient in your energy outputs, in the fight itself, you're gonna gas out. You're not gonna be as confident, and you're not gonna pull the trigger when you need to.
So one of the things, like one of a mindset I would try to put myself in is getting comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, so whether it's but some of that might have been overtraining. Like I feel like shit. Like push through. But like I think there are points in the camp where yeah, dude, fucking take yourself to deep water.
I think there's ways to do it without actually doing that though.
Yeah, but I do it kind of like running wise. So like let's say after like a hard training session, like I would like run a hard mile. You know what I mean? Like when I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. Like do it. You know you can do it. Get it done.
It's not really what you can do. It's what you can recover from.
Right,
So
right.
if you can do it, good. If you can recover from it, obviously, then go ahead. Have fun.
Yeah.
And like when I used to fight, man, I used to get up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I would just run, and I would just go for a run. I hate running, and I did it, and I didn't do it for, any type of way of like aerobic capacity or anything like that. It wasn't for that. It was more for me like being like, man, I know nobody's doing this right now. I know my opponent's not doing this right now. So I gained an edge there.
Who's the guy that did like all the military things? He's like in special Goggins.
Goggins, yeah.
Yeah. So like he had a post up just the other day like, look, there's no one out here. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. The reason why I'm out here right now is because nobody else is. And like, and I was like, damn. So actually, I've been meaning to actually sit down and talk to somebody about this. So I've got this like crazy goal that I want to do, like especially because like, yeah, I'm done fighting, but like, doesn't stop there for me. I'm still setting goals to fucking do crazy shit,
Yep.
So from my gym to Montauk, it's 88 miles, and I want to run it.
It's almost an ultra marathon.
So I'm trying to so last month that just ended, I ran about 50 something miles. This month I plan on doing like 70ish miles throughout the whole month.
Yeah.
What do you think? Obviously you're not a runner, but like you get how the body works.
Yeah, sure.
What do you think would be a nice program? Because obviously I gotta run just a shitload just to get my body ready to. I'm also. I know after I finish it, I'm gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
Like I'm cool with that.
Couple days.
Maybe a week.
Maybe a week. Yeah.
Couple weeks?
Yeah, you're gonna fuck yourself up.
Yeah, I mean toenails probably gonna.
Well, I'm gonna have like a car come and like we're gonna change out shoes.
I get you, but
right.
All that pounding on the bones and on the ligaments, yeah, it's gonna be fun. Listen, you can do it.
I know it. And that's the thing is that Goggins said, right? He's like, one day I just got off the couch and I ran 100 miles. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, I could do that.
Yeah.
And now I've got this like fucking like.
Hey, you know what's funny? I said the same thing. Like I was actually gonna do a triathlon after I was done with my power lifting.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking to get into that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's time for training is one thing because I'm coaching.
Right.
But definitely, man. I think you have to have a periodized system.
Which I'm kind of so like in my head it was so I ran more than I had like 44 miles one month, 66 miles next month, 88 miles next month.
So you're progressing.
Try to do 88 miles in 3 weeks. Try to do 88 miles in 2 weeks.
Yep.
8 miles in 1 week, and then I should be ready to rock and roll. But I also know that there needs to be some time in between these markers of hitting something. Like especially when I started getting like 88 miles in 2 weeks. Like all right, man, maybe give yourself 1 week of 20 miles.
Yeah, I mean you could take deload weeks. Which would be good.
Right.
Because then you'll get what's called that super compensation effect.
Right.
So you might want to take a deload week and drop it down about, from the volume perspective, I would say maybe 40 to 60%.
And then also like cross training is like a huge thing, right? It's got to fucking be like swim really far, really long. Like that would be a good way, and also less on the body. Bike.
You can definitely change the stimulus, and it's going to increase the overall ability to run.
Right.
Because if you keep doing the same things again from the science perspective, right?
It's like a rubber band. If you keep stretching it, it's going to snap.
Exactly. It's a law of accommodation. If you do things over and over again, you're going to get worse at it.
Right.
So you want to constantly stimulate, right? But do it in different ways for variations.
Yeah.
And you come back to the run, and you actually have the same amount of ability, and you're not killing the joints over and over. So yeah, doing the swim, doing some type of biking, something like that would definitely help.
Yeah.
Because you are strengthening up still the heart muscle, the lungs, things like that.
Right.
You're doing it without hurting the joints, ligaments, tendons, things like that.
Right.
So how long have you been the strength coach here at American Top Team?
I've been here. Well, first I started with Dean Thomas. So I was out there with Dean for a long time.
Orlando, right?
And of course at Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there with him since I was about 20. So I was training the guys down there, also training myself, and then I finally got the job here 4 years ago.
Okay.
The first day I trained Dustin, Tisha, King Mo, Hector Lombard. It was my first day. So,
Quite the day.
Yeah. I mean, I used to come down here to do sparring, so I was kind of familiar with everybody, but first time as a coach. So they didn't really know me as a coach. They were like, what are you doing here? So I ended up starting to coach there. And
you're working out with us? No, I'm putting you through the workout.
Through the workout. So it was fun, man. And Brian, the old strength coach that was here before, Shadowed him for a week, seeing how he did things, and he had a different background. He had a track background, so he would do things a little different than what I would do. But he's still a good coach, you know. And the great thing was that they were receptive to me because Brian kind of was like, "This is going to be the new guy," you know, guys get used to him and things like that. And I think King Mo really took to me first, and then again, Tisha started to be more consistent. And then Dustin, obviously, down the line.
And she's in Colorado now, right?
Yeah,
she comes back for
camps, yeah.
Okay.
She stayed in Colorado for the past, like the last 2 fights, and then for this.
I did see her train with you for this last one.
She just needed a different look, man. I think that Colorado obviously is a nice place to be, but I think that she just didn't have the training partners and things like that.
Right.
You know, she didn't have the coaches, and so.
Right. No, I think the networking and talking between each other is. So I remember one camp, and I don't know why I got away from it. It could be a lot. Like fighting in a fight camp could be a lot. Like, you know, because I was like my own guy.
Yeah.
I was like my own boss. I, you know, would appoint someone for my nutrition. I would appoint, you know, like here's my strength coach, and I would kind of make my schedule and like what made sense to me, you know. But that just even putting that together could be like. So what I did for one camp is I put everybody who was involved in my training in a group text, and I would text them how I felt going into training and how I felt afterwards. From my sports psychologist to Andy Gallopin, who's just like a scientist, to, you know, my manager, jiu-jitsu coach, everybody. And I just kind of, and like whatever coach I was with would kind of add something to it. Like, yeah, Dennis did look good today. Or like, you know, yeah, he looked tired or whatever. And then like my site sports
psychologist. Are those type of things that you would write in the group chat?
What's up?
Like, I look good today.
Well, no.
And then someone will come in and write, you do look good today, then.
No, it would be like, dude, felt like a monster today. You know, like almost knocked the dude out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready.
That is a good look, right? And that's good that you actually took it upon yourself to.
Yeah, but the same token, it's like another
stressful,
like
very stressful,
thing to do on top of like making sure I'm eating at this time and eating this and cooking.
Now,
and
did you program for yourself? Like you scheduled it out. Did you program your strength and conditioning too as well?
So my strength and conditioning coach did all my strength stuff.
Who's your strength and conditioning?
His name is Rob Labiento. He was like big into Boyle and Mike Boyle and all those guys.
Shout out Long Island Strength and Performance.
Yeah, my only thing with him though is like we're like almost like such good friends that there sometimes is like Dennis, like do this, like fuck off, you know. And I can almost say that to him, you know. Where like you're very professional. I'm drawing a. You follow XPT, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever done one of their seminars?
I haven't. No, but
please say his name because I feel like I'm drawing his. Their strength coach.
Yeah. Okay. I know you.
Handsome dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God! What is his name?
Hold on, PJ.
Yes, Nestler. Yes.
Yeah.
So
I've done a seminar together.
Yes. I've while I was in California before, like I would do some training. I've done some training with him. I was like, dude, you are like the man. So like to check my like readiness, he had me jump on a pad. That
jump man.
Yeah. And I was like, this is. Perfect. He's like, you're like just below like a NFL wide receiver. I was like, is that right?
Well, watching you fight, you could just tell from that. So,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
There's some guys that are just twitchy, man.
Right.
That has that ability, you know.
Right.
And then you can also manage like as far as like what they need from a profile perspective. Like do they need to get stronger, do they need to get faster? And you can do that through that jump method.
And then do you send your guys to the UPI, get their numbers, and then you?
No, actually, I don't need to go all the way out there because we use Corey Peacock.
That's right. Yes,
so
I know Corey.
I'll take him to the lab over at Nova. And we run them through that, you know, and sometimes we do a lot of field tests. You've seen what I did with the beep test here. And then I'll use like power tests like through med ball throws and broad jumps, kind of old school way.
Yeah.
But when I need to. You know, if I don't have the means to take them to the lab, I have to do it on the field. So, you know, and then obviously from a mobility standpoint, from a movement perspective, I run them through just a base movement screen, you know, and it's similar to functional movement screen, but also it's kind of my own spin on it, and I also use functional range assessments. This is
Now, are you working with the amateur team as well, or just the pros? Just the pros?
Yeah. I have my own. I have 2 gyms up north in Port St. Lucie and Stewart that I run as well. Then I have my online programs, online coaching. I do an online mentorship for coaches. So I'm constantly.
How can someone find that? Give yourself a shout right now.
Yeah,
dude,
you can go to my website, DaruStrong.com. You'll check out all that stuff there, and then you guys can pretty much find me on Instagram. Strong. I usually answer all my DMs there too. So.
Yeah. What was it? So like, speaking with my manager and stuff like that, who his name's Ryan Parsons, so he's been around the fight game forever, so he knows. So, and he's like, hey man, every fight camp, because I always like go back in time, like, well, I feel like this at this time, I feel like this then, so I would always refer back to like what I would do in college. It's like, hey man, like you're not 18 anymore. Like you don't recover the same. That sometimes would be like a fucking like blow. So I'm assuming you write down all of your guys' numbers from what camps and dates and stuff like that. Like, do you ever refer back to that? Like, hey man, like last camp we were stronger, or
I do, but I won't tell you.
Right.
You know
okay.
what I'm saying?
For your own.
Yeah, it has to be for my own metrics, some own data. That I can correlate that in. And it might be just, for instance, we just not have the time, right? Some people have to take fights on short notice at points.
Right.
So that may be the issue there, because there's a lot of variables in this game. And especially for me, I have over 70 fighters that I train on a consistent basis. On top of, I also train boxers and judo practitioners too as well, jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
So I'll take those notes, right? I'll take the baseline assessments, I'll take what we ended with as far as from a final test, and then I'll look at their fights and how they performed in their fights, and then obviously I talk to them and see how they felt. That's the main thing. Is like, it doesn't matter what we do on paper. If they don't win the fight, then it doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? So from my own perspective, yes, I want to see numbers increase from a progression standpoint, just to know what I'm doing fucking works.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I want them to win their fight.
Now, a little bit more about you, like do you like party? Do you live like this like super clean lifestyle? Like what? Because I talked to Tony Ricci a little bit. I talked to something like Algieri. He's like, Algieri's like, I drink like a beer, like every day, like almost every day. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Nah. Yeah. I'll have a glass of whiskey every night.
Okay.
Glass of whiskey.
And
what's the science? Is there science behind that?
Or that's just like makes you happy?
There is some studies out there that say that it does bring down and like it brings your body back down to a parasympathetic state. That's why there's actually a drink where you can mix tea with a little bit of whiskey, and it actually acts as a sleep enhancer. So obviously you need to go to sleep. I take it, that's just to bring my body down, my mind down. I can just relax and cool down, because I'm always constantly thinking about new things.
Right.
It's tough to like lay there and I'm like, damn, I got to do this tomorrow.
Right.
I forgot. Oh shit! Now I got to get up and So I just bring my body down.
Because like for Stan, he smokes like a little weed.
Yeah.
A little weed.
A little.
What are you talking about?
And listen. And I hate to say it, man, but a lot of the fighters do it.
Well, it's like we were talking about CTE and stuff like that with Mike, and I meant to say, like, I started seeing studies about like a lot of fighters after they get done sparring, like, boom, CBD oil, like almost instantly.
Part of what it is, it's I'm in pain, so I can take painkillers, which are horrible for you, or I can smoke weed or take CBD, or
definitely.
Ice baths. It's similar in that, I think, why some fighters
kind
smoke.
Of a recovery.
See, the
The
thing with me, I think people, and it also has to do with like their personality.
Yeah.
So some guys that's like really high strung, like they smoke a little weed, it actually brings them down to baseline.
Right.
For me, I'm kind of chill. So like the only time I get up is like when I'm doing something that's with the fighters, or like if I'm competing. But if I'm not, I'm real chill. So if I smoke, I'm in a coma. I can't do anything.
Right.
So I can't do that. You know what I mean? That's not what I can do to help bring my body down, unless I'm going to sleep. You know what I mean?
So let's say tonight I drank 12 beers. How bad is that for me? Well, you're not nutritious either, right?
No, honestly, we have to know it. But I always revert back to like Chris and Tony and all those guys. I would say that definitely, as far as from the yeast buildup, and obviously the gluten, right? It's gonna mess up your stomach lining. I would say 12 beers. That's a lot.
We had a sponsor from New York mail us.
Bro, 12 beers.
Mail us like 200 beers.
No, like 140.
140?
Yeah.
A lot.
So it's called 1974.
That's the plug. That's
the beer.
1947.
Yeah, 1947.
Listen, man, if you have to do it for the sponsor.
Well.
No, we don't have to. Yeah. We're doing it though. But tonight at the Menace and the Man Castle, we'll call it. We're going to be drinking some 1947.
That's what's up. Maybe I'll come by.
You are more than welcome.
That's where we're at. We were segueing into that.
There are some fights tonight at
Miami.
FFT in Miami that we're going to. I don't know if you have any guys in it.
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, it's amateur, so.
Oh, maybe we might.
Makes sense. I would imagine.
I think he was trying to get some APT guys
fighting in it.
You'd be surprised, man. A lot of times, because there's so many gyms. So many American.
We were talking about that with Mike.
It's like we don't even know. You could be American. There's probably American top team guys but not in here.
Right.
American Top Team, Miramar or whatever.
Like I was saying to Mike, when I was down here 10 years ago, they were everywhere, all up and down Florida. Now it's probably tenfold. You know,
Yeah,
like
well,
fucking.
and it's outside of the state too as well.
Yeah.
You know, like Atlanta.
Oh yeah, there's one in Connecticut. There's one in New York. Yeah, they're everywhere.
It's all
now.
the fighters that come from here, and they branch off and they go open up their own gym in their home state.
Yeah, so you're not, so like what I was getting at, like you're not a hypocrite. Because sometimes like my strength coach, like we'll go out and we'll get something to eat, and like I watch this dude get a salad, I'm like, dude, like you do not have a six pack, like don't make me think, like he's in good shape.
Yeah.
But like don't make me think like you don't eat junk shit.
No, man.
But when you're around me, you're like eat super clean and like, you know.
Really, I mean, listen, I'm a powerlifter too. When I was powerlifting, man,
You gotta just get the calories in, right?
Cheeseburgers, everything.
That's my favorite food.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger and fries.
Yeah.
I have to eat them.
Yeah.
With the beer every now and again, you know. And
Yeah.
honestly, it's funny because I'll bring something in. Like, man, you're not supposed to be eating. I'm like, man, I'm a strength coach. I'm not the nutritionist. I'm not a fitness instructor.
You see these?
Right.
They stand that hard.
I need fuel.
I know.
But,
you know, and then I think there's also something because I was actually talking to Gabby Reese, right? And she was talking about how, you know, her kids have never had like McDonald's, like mine either. You know? But you know, sometimes like we were talking about like the guilt. Sometimes let's say I eat a chicken parmesan, I'm like, man, that was so good, but now I feel like a fucking asshole. But she's like, no, man, like you need to like embrace that and like. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Now, some people are gonna take that and run with it. Like, well,
okay, I'm enjoying it.
I'm eating 12 cupcakes. Like, they said I can enjoy it. I should just embrace it. Like, no, like, live, you know, a healthy lifestyle. But like, when you do eat something kind of fucked up, like, just
Have a little discipline.
no, like, know that you've earned it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, because sometimes like this negative, like, fuck, I shouldn't be eating this. It can actually like. Take you down and then down more versus like I shouldn't be this like maybe before like but I feel good and you're like that, you know, because I know like after weigh-ins, yes, I have like this nutrition thing that I'm going off of, but like dude, eat what's gonna make you happy and just feel fucking good, you know.
Honestly, you gotta
in moderation.
I feel like you have to earn it in a way, and that's where I kind of make sure that that's what I do. And if I'm going through a hard training session, and I'm like, all right, man. I can have like a couple slices of pizza after that damn session. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I didn't do anything, I sat on my ass all day. Rarely I ever do that, but in general, if that does happen, you didn't earn anything yet.
Yeah.
So, and I get it from a longevity standpoint, like you definitely have to eat healthy. You have to eat nutritional food.
Right.
But yeah, it is okay to have that every once in a while because you reboot the system. You reboot your metabolism that way.
Right.
That's what they call it. That's what they dub the cheat meal.
Right. Now I know you don't like. You're not a nutritionist, but you know they kind of go hand in hand.
Sure.
You know, like so people sometimes like they're like you eat breakfast, like no, didn't eat breakfast. You know, like you're an idiot. You're gonna slow down your metabolism. Is that a real thing? Like what controls your metabolism?
There's no real evidence to prove that. You know, and a lot of times you got to think about it, man. People have fasted for months. And the metabolism stays as long as you can maintain a healthy balance of nutritional value throughout when you eat, you'll be okay. There's, intermittent fasting now is big. The time restricted eating. And I've experimented with that, and honestly, my metabolism never slowed at all at that point in time when I was doing that 16-8.
How do you test your metabolism? Now I know, I feel like my metabolism increases when I start fight camp.
The easiest way is,
and I'm just pooping more. It must be.
Well, your digestion is actually increased there
right.
as well. But honestly, the best way to look at it is, okay, am I hungry after every meal? Right? How is my satiation? Can I eat one meal and then be full for like 6 hours? Or is my metabolism revved up to where I have to constantly fuel my body?
Got you. And now is that measured by your caloric intake or your actual mass or both?
A little bit of both, and your muscle mass obviously is going to be a key indicator. So the more muscle mass you have, the more anabolic your body is, the more your body's going to need fuel. So,
got you.
Again, that's why we like our guys, especially like I work a lot with George Lockhart too as well.
Yep.
So like a lot of our guys, he likes them to be somewhat muscled in a way, not to hinder like mobility and overall conditioning, But you want to have a better overall body composition because water is held in the muscle, not in fat.
Right.
So it's easier. I'm pretty sure it was easy for you to cut weight.
Yeah, Jerry, like, dude, your muscles are holding so much water. Like, and me and him are two different people. He's very lean and long, and I'm pretty short and fucking, locked up. So I was like, yeah, we can rinse some out of you. We get some sweat out of them. Like,
yeah, that's the easiest way to do it, man. Because you want to be in and out with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to sustain the low body. But one, you don't want to sustain a low body fat, like in the
unhealthy.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
And you can't train with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? On top of the fact that you don't want to depress the body down so much to where the performance is going to decrease going into the fight. So you want to get it in and get it out, and then bring it back in as fast as you possibly can.
Right.
So I mean, again, the main thing is you want to have a healthy body fat percentage, right? Somewhere around 8 to 10% for males.
Okay.
Around 14, right? 16 is on the high end for females.
Okay.
And then anything lower than 12%, that's very dangerous for a female, right? Especially if they're going to have kids down the line, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, we like to say usually around 12 to 15% from scale weight starting of 8 weeks out in the camp. Right? And if you look at from our perspective, like me and Tony Ricci actually created an ebook on this for weight cutting. It's on my website if you check it out. But basically, we said, at the beginning, when we test you out, you should be at no more than 20 to 25 pounds from your scale weight, starting at camp.
Right.
So walking around, you should only be about 20 pounds or 25 pounds
That's
out.
usually, sometimes, depending on the season, I'll be like 30.
But again, you can get away with it because of, one, your metabolic rate,
Right.
and also your muscle mass.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
If you were a leaner guy or like a skinny fat guy,
Right.
that's going to be an issue.
Now, cutting weight
I'm like a skinny
that,
fat guy.
Like, in 2 months cutting 30 pounds and doing that 2-3 times a year, like,
Yeah.
what does that do to the body?
It definitely negatively affects the metabolism.
I'm like, this can't be good for me.
Yeah, it'll affect the thyroid. You can develop Graves' disease. You can develop a lot of bad disorders when it comes to that from an autoimmune perspective.
Right.
That probably has to be, other than the brain damage and getting punched, that probably is the most fucked up part of fighting, is
Well,
cutting
the
weight.
thing is, it's not like you're told you have to do this.
Yeah.
It's almost like, me and Mike were talking about this, the mental. Oh no, we were talking about the mental. It's like kind of like, well, if I'm bigger than this guy, then
Yeah.
Well, honestly, man, it goes back to like, you have to know yourself, in general. And honestly, if you look at all the fighters now, the ones that go up in a weight class actually do better.
They do great.
Yeah.
You know what
Well, we
I'm
were
saying?
talking about Haraguchi, who trains here, and he's a 125er fighting at 35. Just
Yeah.
kind of,
Masvidal, same thing.
Masvidal.
Look at Dustin.
Dustin, same thing.
Like Cerrone's a person I'm thinking of. He did good at 170. When he fights at 55, he doesn't do. He's too weak to do open workouts.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Like at the one in January, he didn't do open workouts, and he said, I'm fucking shot. I'm sorry, I'm cutting weight.
Yeah.
And then at this one the other day, he didn't do open workouts, and he said the same thing, sorry guys, I'll stand and answer questions.
You usually grow into your body too. Like though, if you look at it, like the guys like Max and Dustin is a perfect example. Like Max is growing still.
Yeah.
Literally, he's
Yeah.
growing
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
So he's a big frame.
Yeah.
You look at him like he's a big frame, so he's gonna end up being a 155. No doubt
And, like,
about it.
so-
He's not gonna make more than 45.
Dustin, does he cut a lot to get to 55?
Yeah.
I would think he's
Yeah.
one of those guys.
He's a big
90?
kid, man. He's
He-
a big kid. People don't really know.
When he was at featherweight, he was a kid still. So yeah, he wasn't there.
Young kid.
Yeah.
And like now, it's funny because I talked to him and like, Mike doesn't want me to like lift weights with him anymore, like type stuff, because he's afraid that he's not gonna make the weight. At the end of the day, this kid's hands are like bigger than my hands.
Yeah.
His fists are way bigger. His wrists. So his structure is like a 170 pounder.
Yeah.
His back is super
I mean,
wide.
now he's the lightweight champion, but he's one of those guys who I always thought of make a 165 division. Dustin, put Dustin Poirier in the title fight.
So my strength coach, I don't know if he's like just trying to keep business or whatever, but like I've talked to a few fighters and like, when we come to the point like, man, fuck lifting, because like I'm sore the next day, I'm putting on muscle, it makes making the weight even harder.
Yeah.
Like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
And then my strength coach is like, well, he talked about the metabolic and stuff like that, like the muscles being worked, and then I think there's also like some fucking Cause I wrestled for fucking years, so I forget what Tony calls it. Like I'm like a caveman, or I have like this.
Caveman strength.
I forget what strength he calls it. Like my frame is like a Neanderthal type. I don't know. He was like some kind of science word, or whatever. Or like as you get older, your bones and muscle becomes.
They become thicker.
That's what he was saying.
More dense.
Right.
More dense, yeah.
And so he's like,
Look at Tony. Look at Tony at his age.
Oh my God.
He's a monster.
Jacked.
He's like, on paper, like as you get older, it's gonna be harder for you to make these weights. Then it's not because of your diet or anything like that, but because like your bones and everything's just getting a little bigger and thicker.
Yep. So
Now, at what age does the bone start going the opposite direction? I think like over 35.
definitely over 35, and then also growth hormone starts to go down, testosterone starts to go down. That's why a lot of guys get on TRT at that age.
Hang on. I cannot wait to get on TRT.
Listen, it'll change your life.
I haven't.
Most likely.
Because I'm 32 now, and like I'm like maybe at 35, at least I'm gonna give myself like a couple years like without after retirement.
I would say around 38.
I'm thinking 40. I'm definitely no matter what. Like I'm on.
It's honestly more dangerous to have low T than a medium to high testosterone. Because a lot of
there's some correlation between like your like mental thought with that. Because I know a buddy, I'm not gonna name him, but like his testosterone levels are so low and he trains so hard, and he comes in, he's like, dude, I kind of want to kill myself. Like, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And we laugh. but there's
some truth to it, maybe. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, that sucks.
You know.
It's not a good look. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like people don't understand. And there's ways to naturally boost your testosterone, obviously, but
Cold showers.
Cold showers do. I mean, supplementation.
Sucks.
Oh, they really do. Like Menace told me that a few times. Kept saying it to me. Then one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking try this, and I was like, oh my God! I like felt immediately almost like my testosterone fucking boost.
It like turned you on. Like
it turned me on. Turned me on, 100%.
Yeah, you're like, are you ready to go now?
Yeah.
So, and that's a good thing too when you're talking about being uncomfortable.
Right.
Put yourself in an uncomfortable situation
right
then and there in the morning.
So
then you're ready to go attack the day.
Yep.
So my sports psychologist for my last camp actually told me like, yo man, till your fight, do cold showers. Like, you don't do it every day, but And so what I would do, I'd do my cold shower, and I get out and I had a mantra. I look myself in the mirror, like, all right, Dennis, you fucking ready? Like, you're the man. You're gonna win. The date, how you're gonna win, like, why you're gonna win, the whole thing. And it was like, after coming out of this uncomfortable state of the shower, which is also a recovery move, boost. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many good things behind it, and then just taking that energy and like flowing. He's like, but don't do it too late at night because then you won't sleep. But I mean, cold showers do help with sleep, but my mantra afterwards takes you the opposite direction.
Yeah, your self-talk, yeah, for sure, man. Definitely. Because I was thinking, like, I've done that too to kind of bring myself down with the cold shower, or I'll do like a contrast.
Right.
That too, that actually helps out a lot, especially from a recovery standpoint, right?
But I just like when I'm already cold and numb, like, all right, you're good. You already beat the hard part. Now going back and forth. And what's that? Just flushing the blood? Kind of like a cryotherapy?
In a way. At the end of the day, right, you're getting rid of inflammation and then you're bringing the muscles back down from a tense state. So you're relaxing the muscle and then you're taking away that inflammation. So I think it's good. I honestly like it more than just ice baths, just cryo, or just a sauna. I like to do both in general. And we'll do 3 minutes in the ice, and we'll go.
That's next. When I went to XBT, that's what they had us do. 3 minutes in the ice bath and like go under with your head, like what?
Yeah, it sucks.
Hold it and then into the sauna and then back. And I'm like, can we just hang on the sauna a little longer? I'm not. Exactly. I'm even ready to go back.
Don't get used to it, but the body has to adapt.
Right.
And when your body has to adapt, it's gonna make sure that it brings it back to home.
Laird Hamilton is a complete.
Well, we kind of were ignoring chat, but now someone asked the question relevant. So who dropped you? Can you finish your cold shower with a warm shower, or does it ruin the benefit?
I would say I'd finish my warm shower with a cold shower. Right? I like to make sure that it depends on the day, though. Like what are we doing at that day? Are we going to be going out or are we going to bed? If we're going to bed, maybe you want to do a hot shower, bring your body back down, relax the muscle, right? Again, if I'm looking to attack the day, I'm gonna go ahead and step in the cold shower and then get out.
Yeah, I know Andy always had me end with cold to make my body naturally warm back up.
That's a good look.
Which is, you
and he knows.
Yeah, you're making your body like work just a little bit more, even though you're done.
Yeah, for sure.
You know. Now, I guess if you're already fucking zapped, maybe fucking give your body a break and go warm. You know, but like, what's the extreme there? You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you done for the day? Training anybody? You got more?
I think I got one more. I gotta send Nina her workout, and then I got
Nina. How do you pronounce her last name?
Ansarov. Yeah, I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
Nina, don't get mad at me if I butcher your last name. But nah, then I got a 90-minute drive back up north, so that's gonna be fun. But
When do you start your day? I feel like you're probably one of those guys up at like 5 a.m. and gets them going.
I'll get about maybe 4:35. I like to get at least some type of training in.
For yourself?
Yeah, for myself.
Right.
And then I'll get up, I'll do some work in the beginning of the maybe 7, 8 o'clock. I take my son to school, and then I head down here.
Quick question, because my coaches tell me this. I don't know if he's just making shit up or if there's something science behind it, but like in the morning we would lift, and he said it's when your testosterone levels are the highest.
Actually, your testosterone levels are as highest at 10, 11 o'clock a.m. from what I heard from the studies.
Now, meaning you were up for so many hours, or
primarily. If you wake up, let's say you wake up at like 8 o'clock, right?
Okay.
That's standard. So usually about a few hours prior to that, around that mid-morning, right? That's when your testosterone is at its highest. Right, so
well, I mean, looking back at my training, there's no chance that my coach is like, you know what, this is when everyone's testosterone is gonna be the highest. That's what we're gonna have practice. But we usually have pro class around 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Something like that. I wake up at like 9, eat something, give myself an hour to digest, warm up, get after it.
I mean, from a dietary perspective, as long as you're lean enough, you're insulin sensitive in the morning, so that may be something that triggers overall, higher amounts of hormonal benefit, because insulin is obviously more anabolic than anything.
Right.
So if you do put in that, if you're lean enough, you can do that to help jump regulate, your body. But at the end of the day, the studies did say about 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Last two questions. Before and after working out, when should your last intake of food be before you work out, ideally?
Nope.
And then after you train?
So this is funny because this is kind of like a misconception a lot of times, where people think they need to rush and get protein in and right after the workout. I mean, Andy could probably say this, but like at the end of the day, there really is no real evidence of a window in time.
Right.
You just want to make sure that you're getting it in at a relative time, maybe like an hour and a half. Is maybe 2 hours is probably the longest that I would go without any real food, because you do want to replenish the body from a recovery standpoint.
Right.
Now, digestion plays a role in how long you need to wait, from when you eat to go to train.
Right. I feel like an hour is also like, know your damn body.
That's it.
Like, can you eat fucking McDonald's and scrap right now? All right, you know that because you've been doing it your whole life or whatever, or there's
some people can't, man. Some people have to wait 2 hours to just get maybe even a shake in.
Then there's also the volume too. Like I could eat half of a peanut butter sandwich right now and go fucking get after it.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But like if we go to all you can eat sushi, like whoa, I'm gonna need fucking an hour and a half.
Yeah, for sure. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, like I used to be able, and it depends on the digestion. Again, I used to be able to eat a steak in about 30 minutes. I would go hit a high intensity weight training session.
Wow.
Right then and there, because my digestion was going.
Right.
Some people can't do that. Obviously, they got to wait an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And then I also take into consideration like how close up I'm eating and what I'm eating. So if I'm eating something pretty sugary, like all right, let's fucking burn this while it's fucking being broken down, versus like let that shit store and then try to bring it back out.
Well, another thing is like, for me, I primarily don't like to take in a lot of carbohydrates before my training sessions. I like to take it intra and post, right? Okay. Because at the end of the day, I want to actually utilize what's called gluconeogenesis, which is basically your body's fat for fuel.
Right. What's that, like the keto?
Not keto, but it takes the fat that you have and turns it into...
Because isn't that what not keto, what am I thinking? Or ketones, isn't that when
ketones is another natural
it's when your fat gets broken down into and it gets used as energy, right?
Yep, pretty much. And you got to have, obviously, no sign or at least very little of glycogen in
because it's going to hit that first.
Or in the liver,
Right.
So
which a lot of people don't know.
The body entirely for you. A lot of people don't get into ketosis. Let me just tell you that right now. It's very hard to do, especially as an athlete. It's very hard to do.
I've definitely felt it during fight week.
Oh yeah.
Like where I'm fucking hungry and I'm like, I know I have to like push myself to make the goddamn weight, and like sometimes I'm like, where the fuck is this energy coming from? I haven't fucking eaten up fucking anything bigger than my fist in like 2 weeks, and I
now did you have any carbs though?
I mean, well, Algieri's diet he has for me, the very last day there's pretty much, I don't think there is any carbs.
Makes sense.
But like day 2 and 3 and even 1 are like some carbs in the morning, and then
that's good.
Like a cereal or an oatmeal. Cereal and oatmeal, then the last day is like chicken.
Because you're still somewhat training. You're drilling a little bit. You're getting the weight off, and that's another thing. Like in the beginning of the week for the weight cut, like you still have to do some type of action-based training or drilling at least, or even hitting a treadmill or hitting mitts or whatever the case may be to get the weight off from a calorie deficit perspective.
Right.
But once it's like passive, like weight reduction, then no carbs at all.
Got you. Sitting
and
in a
again,
sauna.
when you deplete glycogen like that, when you put it back in, it's going to go right into the muscle.
Right.
So then you're getting a great influx of glucose.
Right.
I
And
feel
then
like
when you guys fight, you go to the fights?
Yeah.
Everyone?
Not everyone. The problem is, well, not even that. Yeah, that too, businesses and things like that. But again, fighters are fighting every weekend here.
Right.
So like, I can't leave. Like, let's say, okay, Dustin had his fight in Atlanta. If I leave, then okay, well, then I got Andre Arlovsky's fighting the next weekend, and I got Alexei Olenek fighting there. So it's all.
So when you go to the fight, you go fight night, or you'll go for the fight week?
Sometimes I'll go fight night. Sometimes I'll go the fight day, and then I'll leave right after the fight.
Now, if it's like a title fight, are you there like fucking the whole thing? Like, I mean, is there some levels to it?
There's so many title fights, it seems, right?
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Like if I had like one guy, then it'd be obviously different, But I have likely 75 that I have to look over, and honestly, at that time, that week of, unless I'm working the weight cut, I'm done. My job's done.
Right.
You know what I mean? They tape.
They'll call you. You'll say you're good, man. You're strong. Like just some mental.
That's it. Mike, Daya, those guys. That's what they handle at that point.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So Phil Daru. Let's get that out there one more time. What is it? DaruStrong.com.
You could throw it in the link. You could write in the link right here.
Oh, down there. Yeah.
Can you do that on yours?
I will. No, I can't. Yeah, I can actually. I'm on yours. So DaruStrong.com. Everyone check him out. Go follow him on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
@DaruStrong.
@DaruStrong.
Keeps it simple.
Yeah, I like how you're doing that, keeping it across the board. Want to thank you for joining us, Phil.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
We appreciate the time.
If you want to come by and have a beer.
I will, man.
Yeah, if you want to hang out tonight,
number.
Menace and the Man will be partying, and we want to do this again. I feel like this was a very insightful interview. What I was going to say before is I feel like I need to go back and listen to this episode because I just learned some shit.
We can get deeper, man.
Yeah, no. I feel like we can go deep.
Well, what I would love to do, we'll have Tony in studio.
Oh, man.
We'll have Phil call in, and then we can bounce it between the two of them.
That'd be awesome.
Well, for lifting, and then him for diet.
Yeah, me and him get in a room, man. It's crazy. So it's fun to chop it up with him all the time.
All right, so Phil Daru, everyone check him out. Daru Strong, what would you call yourself? The head coach, right? The head strength and conditioning coach at American Top Team. If they're from American Top Team, you train them, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, so Phil Daru, check him out. Thank you again for joining us, Phil, and we're going to wrap this up, right?
Yep. Well, see you later.
Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, we appreciate you. Thank you. I feel like that was very insightful. Yeah.
Dude, this gym is awesome.